Welcome everyone to the Truth Unfiltered show. I hope that you enjoyed the first one. And hey, we have Miss Pamela Reaves sitting right here next to me again this week. We got some more interesting topics to talk about. And so Pam is going to lead us into this discussion. And we thank you for supporting the Truth Unfiltered show, and tell everybody about us because we're going to be going live soon, and we want to make sure that we have something to share with you. So we will keep you informed of what we'll be talking about on our future shows, and allow you to be able to come in and be a guest. So we'll keep you posted. Okay. So enjoy the show, and Pamela Reaves, we're going to let you handle it from here.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. It's great to see you again. And Sandy and I want to thank you because the response to our first episode, it was impressive, And so we are off and running to really bring the truth unfiltered to you through the show. Our first episode, we spoke about, or we discussed the truth versus lying, the benefits of the truth, as well as the destruction attached to a lie. So in that, also in that episode, we just wanted to highlight, the virtues of the truth. And I would say that most of us, that's one of the things that we think about when we think of the truth, its virtues and everything that will fall into place. But in reality, everybody isn't ready for our truth. Everybody doesn't want the truth. And there are adversarial forces that will do things to disturb or bring your truth into question. So that this episode, that's what we want to discuss. What happens? How do you respond? How do you stand in your truth when those who actually have a wide audience, who are influencers, question your truth? And that's not easy when someone has a wide audience, when there's a large group of people, and you know that you are standing in your truth. You know your decisions are based on the truth, but yet the adversarial forces would adversely impact just your peace, because we want to be at peace, and we tend to think, and it is our hope, that the truth brings peace with it. It does, but as I said, they are adversarial forces that would question your truth, bring your truth into question, or even upset you, or attack you, downright attack you. And Sandy, you and I were discussing some of the trending stories over the recently about that. And what we were impressed with were three young women who are out there in the public. And these young women are committed to self-care, self-love. And when they made decisions to stand in their truth, they were publicly attacked. And so that's what we are discussing. That's what we want our audience to know. This is a full circle show. As I said, we discuss the virtues of truth, all the wonderful things that comes with the truth. But everybody doesn't want the truth. Everybody doesn't value the truth. And there are those who are committed to destroying or attempting to destroy your truth or attack you.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And I like the way you put that, Pam, because it really is. It is definitely, it means so much to those that don't mind telling the truth, because it's liberating. Like you said, it's very, very liberating. And I got a daily devotion today, and it so happened, like I mentioned to you earlier, it talked about lies. And one of the things that it mentioned about lies is it just says that a lie is like trying to be a bit pregnant. It won't take long before everybody knows. Everybody knows it. So
I get it.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's so, and it kind of like what we're talking about today about the three young women. They stood in their truth, because they knew they're public figures and everybody would be, eventually a lie would cause you to lose people to lose trust in you.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
yeah. So with that being said, how can they move on in their career? They had to come, they could have chose to tell a lie, tell a lie
Yes.
about the circumstances, but what good would that have done them long term?
Yes. Well, the first was Naomi Osaka, who I was just really impressed with.
Yeah,
And it was back in May that she withdrew from the French Open,
yeah.
citing mental health reasons for her sudden withdrawal. In
Mm-hmm.
an Instagram post explaining her decision, the tennis star opened up about living with depression ever since her big win against Williams at the United States Open in 2018, writing, I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well being is that I withdraw so that everybody can get back to focusing on tennis going on in Paris. So, according to this statement, she's really been dealing with this since
Yes,
2018.
yes,
So, and we're past May 2021. So for 3 years, this
exactly.
young woman has been
Mhm.
suffering in
Yes,
silence.
silence. Yeah.
And, one of the points that I want to make is sometimes people sacrifice their well being
Mhm.
to appease the crowd.
Yes.
And being such a public figure and in a public forum, she's been taking this burden or holding this burden for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love is that she's had enough. So she decided to step up,
Yes.
and stand in her truth.
Yes.
And, mental health isn't an easy subject to broach,
Mhm.
but yet she was willing to just put herself out there, her truth,
Mhm.
because seeking, to unburden herself
Mhm.
from this lie of just pleasing the audiences. Now, what I was talking about when you and I had a conversation about people not appreciating the truth or attacking your truth,
Mhm.
Fox X anchor
Megan Kelly.
Megan Kelly,
Mhm.
she started,
Yes.
controversy when she attacked Naomi. And actually, she was piggybacking off of another conservative pundit who,
Mhm.
brought up that Naomi could have dolls, and she can do photo shoots for major magazines. And
Right.
Naomi, defended herself, and responded with Megan. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing that, being that you are in the press, journalism, that you would understand that a
Mhm.
photo shoot probably took place months, if not a year, before the photos were released, you
Exactly.
know. And so I was happy that she stood up for herself. And there was a lot of blowback for Megan. And so I
Yeah.
really don't want to get into the racial part because these dynamics could apply to anyone. When you
Exactly.
stand in your truth, you decide to risk whatever the consequences are publicly,
Right.
to stand in your truth, to heal yourself.
Yes.
And someone else who has a huge platform
Mhm.
calls that into question, that
Mhm.
can't feel good. It
Mhm.
has to hurt. But
Yes.
yet, this young woman decided to stand in her truth and would not back down. And there are times we're going to have to do that.
Mhm.
You're going to have to decide if pleasing the crowd
Mhm.
is more valuable than your well being.
Is it worth it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And
That's
you
right.
and I brought that up, the first episode. Is
Exactly.
it worth it?
Is it
Is
worth
it worth it?
it? Mhm.
Because pleasing the crowd is
Mhm.
instant gratification,
Mhm.
you know.
Yes.
But if you do that, you are risking long term harm,
Exactly.
irreparable harm.
Mhm.
So, what do? That's when you have to know your truth. See,
Yeah.
you can't stand on firmly what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know your truth, you know what to accept and you know what to reject,
Yeah.
regardless of what someone else feels you should have done. You
Yes.
know, we have to be confident, not allow someone else to, have control over how we handle our wellness. As
Exactly.
a matter of fact, what they were looking for, and the criticism was that she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't like tough questions. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to, have to sit down with the media and answer tough questions.
Yeah.
Well, why should she sacrifice her well-being
Mm-hmm.
to satisfy your
Exactly.
desires?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
why would she do that? And and it was to provoke her into, but thank God,
Mm-hmm.
she didn't fall for that. But then
Yes.
you have to bring into question, and I don't want to mention the name again because that's not what this is about. But then you have to question, what is the attacker's truth?
Yes.
What is their truth?
Yes.
What is it about your very nature that,
And we.
even if this is attached to your job,
Mm-hmm.
that if it's going to damage someone, that is your truth, that you are willing
Mm-hmm.
to damage someone? Because
Exactly.
remember what the subject matter was, this young woman's mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what is it about you and
Mm-hmm.
who you are at your core
Mm-hmm.
that, for the sake of sensationalism,
Exactly.
you are willing to harm this person in some way for doing nothing more than standing in their truth?
Yeah. But that tells, like you said, it tells a lot about what her truth is.
Yes. And
It
that's
tells
what I say. When we have that, we may focus on
tells a
one
lot.
person who is
Yeah.
being harmed by that.
Yes.
But what brings into question for me,
Yeah.
what is your truth?
Mm-hmm.
What is because your truth is who you are at your very core.
Right.
Your
Exactly.
truth is who you are at your very core. So,
Yeah.
what is it about your very core
Mm-hmm.
that is
Yeah.
willing to attack someone on a subject as serious as mental health
Exactly.
for the sake of sensationalism? Because this individual is no longer an anchor, no
Right.
longer on major TV. From what I understand, is just a podcast now and
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. So,
Mm-hmm.
what is it about you
Mm-hmm.
that is so important that to publicly come to a platform and
Mm-hmm.
to attack someone for the sake of sensationalism,
Yeah.
not getting at the truth so that it would be instrumental or of importance or value to the public for public knowledge,
Exactly.
but for the sake of ridicule, for ridicule.
But what I want to come out and say on that is to answer that question, could it be that she has a mental illness of her own? Narcissism might be part of it. That sounds like she's in that category.
or
She's
or
not
that
in.
or that personality trait
Yes,
that thrives on that, you know
exactly.
and I was thinking of this, and someone would probably say to us in response, well, she's a millionaire times over, why would you question her? Well, you know what, that a million times over being a millionaire, that does not make you healthy. you
It
know
does.
that
Exactly.
does not make you healthy. Even if it's not a mental situation, still, what is it about your character?
Mm-hmm.
That because there's a pundit, Tiffany Cross, that did a really provocative piece on this. And
Uh-huh.
she really called Megan out for a lot of things. Not going to
Yeah.
go into that,
Yeah.
but just Google Tiffany Cross and
Yeah.
Megan Kelly. But she brought out some good
Some of
points.
it.
She brought out some good points. Why
Mhm.
would you scratch and claw your way back to relevance at the risk of someone else's mental
Yeah.
health?
They have mental health. Yeah.
So there's a flaw there.
Woo.
There's a character flaw that needs to be questioned.
Mhm.
And sometimes we get caught up in titles or in socioeconomic status, and not question people solely based on that,
Mhm.
and that's a flawed laundry list. you
Yes.
know
Mhm.
um, Being wealthy, being considered powerful, being celebrity, that
Mhm.
does not mean you are flawless when it comes to character.
Mhm.
you know and that's why I say, when you have situations like this, then what comes into question is the attacker.
Yeah.
Who are you at your core?
Mhm.
As I said, and I'll repeat it again, who you are at your core is your truth.
Yeah. That's
that
right.
that that is your truth.
That
Who
is.
you are at your core. And we can't just default back to wealth and celebrity and status and think that exempts
Yeah.
people from
No, it does.
being called out on
Yeah.
their character flaws.
Yes. Yeah. You're right.
So,
Yeah.
as I said, I really just was so impressed with her. And
Yeah.
when you speak up, see, we never know who else
Mhm.
is being faced with some of the things that we are. That's why it is important to be relatable,
Mhm.
and it's important to be authentic, and just be transparent.
Yeah.
Because, shortly after that, then Simone Biles
Right.
out of some
Yeah.
of the, Olympic activities. And
Exactly.
when I was reading an article on her, Simone
Mhm.
Biles said that Naomi Osaka's withdrawal and her coming forward, that's what inspired her.
Yes.
Here's someone else who had been living under tremendous pressure,
Yes.
tremendous pressure, had the weight of the world as was,
Mhm.
if the country, if nothing else, because the expectations were so high on her.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Naomi being willing to come out,
Mhm.
that gave Simone inspiration
Mhm.
to look out for herself, to
Yes.
step back, to take care of herself.
Exactly.
Nobody else was going to do it because everyone was depending on her bringing
Mhm.
home the goal. So,
Mhm.
obviously the two young women had not had a discussion, but,
Right.
just the fates, thank
Mhm.
God the creator knew
Yeah.
what Simone needed, and
Exactly.
Naomi came out first. And
Exactly.
Simone, she did the same thing. She was
Exactly.
inspired by somebody else standing in their truth and speaking their truth.
Yes. Because she had a situation. She was really Simone was suffering from like anxiety over this public speaking, wasn't it? Wasn't
Yeah,
she?
yes.
And
But
she was
she's been dealing with a lot. She was one of those people, one of those young women gymnasts who have been sexually abused.
by
You
that guy
know,
named Larry something. I
yeah,
can't think of his
yeah.
last
And
name.
so
Right.
just
Mhm.
think of that group of young
Yeah.
ladies
Exactly.
they were carrying that burden. They were
Yeah.
living that lie.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
she lived it a while before she really came out and told her
right,
parents
right.
about
So
it.
she
Right.
was dealing with that. So at their young ages, thank God that they both were fed up with lies. And
Yes.
I'm coming forward with my truth,
Because
regardless
literally,
of the outcome.
yeah, because that lie literally could have, at their such young ages, I think it could have caused them to just didn't want to live anymore. And I think,
Right,
I don't know what, I think Simone mentioned that she was in a parking lot one day and she was getting ready to, she called her mom and she just said she just couldn't handle the whatever. And her mom said, stay there. And she would come in to see about, because
yes,
she could have just went over the edge then, but she wanted to come out with her truth to
right,
set herself free, really, basically.
right.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
remember, sometimes when we see people who are performing well and who are
Right.
excellent at what they do, all we see is the smile. And sometimes, although well intended, all of the accolades, and the applause, that
Exactly.
sometimes, and like I said, it is well intended, but that's additional pressure
Exactly.
because these women, when we see them perform and open, you can't really tell what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know the backstory. So,
You
can you imagine those types of backstories and still being able to perform at the levels that they had?
Mm-hmm.
That's tremendous, tremendous pressure.
Yes.
And they are to be applauded for
Exactly.
standing in their truth, deciding that I'm coming forward. I
Exactly.
don't care what, the image that other people have when you mention mental health. Me
Exactly.
coming forward, freeing myself is
Mm-hmm.
far more important than pleasing the crowd. The crowd is going to go home, go
Yeah.
back to their lives, and
Yeah.
I'm still stuck
Right.
with whatever I suffered and whatever I was willing to sacrifice to please these people momentarily.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And we can take note from that. Are we willing to please the crowd? Are we willing to put on this facade of this perfect life, thinking that that is valuable?
Exactly.
I
Mm-hmm.
periodically speak of that perfect Facebook life, that we see where people, it's down to they will take photos of a beautiful dish. I've done that when you're out at a restaurant. And I know we want to inspire each other. I get it. We
Mm-hmm.
want to inspire each other. We
Yeah.
want to motivate others that, we can live, these amazing lives. And that's true.
Yeah.
But keep everything in perspective. Be real.
Right.
Also be willing to speak of your challenges, speak
Yeah.
of your heartache, speak
Exactly.
of your heartbreak, your
Yeah.
setbacks, because
Mm-hmm.
that's inspiring as well. That I came through all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So but you're right. You're so right, Pam. You're right. Mm. Mm-mm.
So, how do you now? You have one of these sunny dispositions. I'm always talking about Sandy's smile, this effervescent smile. Yes, I speak of that all the time. And so I'm sure you have your challenges, but I also know that your smile is authentic.
Oh,
So
okay.
why don't you explain to the viewing audience how, notwithstanding the challenges that you have, that
Yeah.
you maintain an authentic smile, not just a smile that's theater
Right.
professional, but a smile that's authentic. How do you maintain that authenticity in
Yeah.
the face of adversity?
I don't tell myself lies about the situation. I deal with at hand what I have to deal with, and I do it in what ifs. The what ifs, like what I'm saying. I just stand in my truth and be truthful to myself.
Right.
And not try to put on airs to anybody. In other words, not trying to live like the Joneses. Sometimes even in business, it's hard. I think sometimes I get on and I do my lives about it sometimes, and I say it's not easy, and I tell myself the truth.
Yeah. It's it's
So yeah,
it's as simple as that, right,
it's as
Sandy?
simple
It's
it's as simple
it's
as
not
that.
complicated.
Yeah,
Sometimes we make it complicated,
we
but it's
do.
as simple as that. And
You
one of
know,
the other things that I noticed, that I know about you, is that you are involved in so many things.
mhm,
So I'm thinking that because you have so many joys, so many different interests,
mhm,
that keeps you joyful as well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
is not true.
yeah,
and
yeah. So
and and I'm gonna say this, Pam. I don't mean to cut you off.
go ahead.
And then realizing that I'm walking in my own lane. See,
Yes.
that's the beauty of it too. Oprah used to say that all the time. She stay in her lane, and when you stay in your
Right.
lane is your truth. You
Right.
can do it authentic smile. I can
Right.
smile authentically. I don't have to. I don't need anybody. I heard Dr. George Frazier say this in a video. I was listening to him the other day. He says, I don't have to be motivated to do what I do. And
Right,
I feel the same way. I don't
right,
have to be motivated.
right.
Maybe I don't even, I can't even say, well, yes, I can say people inspire me
Yeah,
sometimes, but I don't have to. You don't have to motivate Sandy
yeah,
to
yeah,
get up in the morning and get in the office and do
yeah.
whatever. I get up just like I'm going out to a 9 to 5 when I'm
Right,
working on business. You
right.
know, then when I'm in the salon, there's a different hat that I wear. And when I'm doing other things, there are different hats that I wear. But I also, just like I said, I try to operate in excellence, put it that way too. And
Right.
just like the young ladies that are that are athletes, just like we're talking about the ones we're talking about now with Naomi and Simone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
They like what they do. And that's probably one of the reasons that they've been able to excel, notwithstanding everything that was going behind.
exactly.
But they still were conscious enough to know that this is not sustainable. I
Right.
love
Yes,
this, and really to preserve it. I want to continue to love
yes,
it. So
yes.
the way to do that is to come out with the truth so
Mm-hmm.
that I can get rid of this and move on, get
Yeah,
back into that joyful spot and
exactly.
move on. But I never will be able to do it if I don't get rid of this enemy of my life, the enemy
Yes,
that is robbing me of my joy. I
exactly.
have to speak the truth so that
Mhm.
I can get back to the business at hand.
Man, that's right. And what's the other young lady name?
Uh,
Carl.
but yeah, that's a
Sha'Carri.
that's yeah, that's that Sha'Carri Richardson. A
Yeah,
little
Sha'Carri.
bit, yeah, a little different. She's, the track sensation. A
Yeah.
little different spin, but still
Mhm,
yet another woman who
mhm.
is, well, another person who is to
Right.
be admired.
Yes.
Basically her truth was her guilt.
Yeah.
I say that.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah.
when we think we're guilty of something, we are forever tarnished,
Yeah.
But what I loved about her response was she tested positive for drugs in her system, and
Mhm.
it was marijuana. And well,
Mhm.
she wanted to clarify it was not performance enhancing
Exactly.
drugs. She wanted us to know you will never get that from me, because
Right.
guess what? She is so confident in that truth about her talent that,
Yes.
she could come out with a statement affirmative like that.
Right.
But getting back, her truth was also her guilt. But
Mhm.
she was willing to take responsibility for
Exactly.
that, to say that
Exactly.
I'm wrong. This is what I did. And
Yes.
guess what? You don't even hear that story too much
Yes.
going. And that's another point about the truth.
Yes.
When you neutralize your
Yes.
haters with the
Yes.
truth, they move on
Yep.
immediately.
We
Now,
talked about that in the first show too
yes,
as well. Yeah.
if she had kept on denying, the
Mhm.
story would have kept spinning,
Mhm.
because you would have had those who were researching going for more information. And
Mhm.
because the story
Exactly.
had the
Exactly.
attention of the public, then that brings them back, because part of reporting is sensationalism.
Yes.
But her standing in her truth, telling the truth unfiltered. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
guilty. So
Yes.
what else do you have? I'm guilty. What else do you have? And you
Mhm.
see, everybody moved on to
Exactly.
another sensational story. And so that's proof positive. When
Mhm.
you come and tell the truth, you can't, what's that biblical saying? Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the adversary will move on because it's
Well,
no longer sensationalism. And as I said, that was attached to guilt.
mhm.
It wasn't a situation, well, feel sorry for me because, well, I didn't know. But
Mhm.
her truth was attached to guilt. But
Mhm.
that's how you neutralize that guilt.
Yes.
Tell
Mhm.
the truth. Her
Yeah.
truth set her free.
It did. Yes, it did. It sure did.
Her
Yeah.
truth set her free. And that's a lesson for our viewing audience. If
Mm-hmm.
there is something you know you are ashamed of,
Yeah.
if there is something you are guilty of, you know, you can free yourself with the truth
Yes.
unfiltered.
That's right.
There's no need to carry that shame and that guilt. You know, the truth will take care of that. Yes, you will have those who will come and attack you for your truth.
Mm-hmm.
But this is about your wellness. This
Mm-hmm.
is about who you have to look at in the mirror every morning.
Yes.
This is who you can never escape. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to deal with what makes you feel best, what heals you,
Mm-hmm.
what is best for your self love and
Mm-hmm.
your wellness program, your personal wellness program. It's about you. It's
Yeah.
not satisfying the crowd. It is not satisfying someone who will move on to something else and leave you with that truth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's about you. There is nothing wrong with self care. There
Mm-hmm.
is nothing wrong with self love. You are to commit to
Mm-hmm.
those because if you can't love yourself, if you can't care for yourself, if you can't tell yourself the truth, why
Mm-hmm.
should anybody else rely on you?
Exactly. That's true. That
For the
is
same thing.
true. That's true.
If you can't face your own truth, everything that you do is
It,
predicated on this lie.
it just,
And that's too much of a burden.
yeah.
We are about wellness now. We
Mm-hmm.
are about living our best lives. So
Mm-hmm.
anything that separates us from our best lives should be discarded.
Yes. Yes. And I know the audience agree with that. I definitely agree with it. And it's so right because it makes a difference. It
Yeah.
makes a and it shows. It shows when you don't tell the truth or when you are living the lie. It shows.
Yes, yes. When you are sullen and withdrawn and
Yes.
nervous and
Mhm.
guarded with everybody and secretive, you
Yes.
know that is weighty. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
It is.
That's
It is.
cumbersome.
It
You
is.
know that you have to, and that's where that shows. I had a colleague years ago, and I remember he was always so super serious. You
Mhm.
know, would disappear all the time, very quiet.
Mhm.
And we talked about this a little bit on our first episode.
Mhm.
And he moved on to another job, totally different person. And I
Mhm.
said to someone else in a conversation, I get it now. He was unhappy in this job. And
Mhm.
so it manifested itself in almost everything, you know, because he was so unhappy, but
Mhm.
he was attempting to preserve that professional
Mhm.
image that he thought, you know, he didn't want anybody to think
Right.
um, unkindly of him, but he was just unhappy. And when he went to another job, a totally different person
Mm.
emerged because he was finally free
Yeah.
of the burden and the guilt of being in something that he knew he didn't like.
Like you said, like the saying goes, the truth will set you free.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
And there is nothing a better feeling than being liberated. You
No.
know, when
Yeah.
you are liberated, you find joy in so much. You
Mm.
can smile authentically. You can, that's why you smile through it all. You
Yes.
know, because you have, through your experience, you have learned that if it's authentic,
Yeah.
and guess what? It truly comes from within.
Yeah.
And so nothing or no one can take it from you.
No one.
They, they can make attempts, and that's all it will be.
Yeah.
Attempt.
Attempt.
And
Audience, you hear that?
those attempts may affect you. They may irritate you sometime. But the bottom line is then you go back to who you are at your core.
Yeah.
This is not me dealing with and being involved with someone who disturbs my peace. And so I'm going to shake it off. I know that's how I am.
Yes.
I'm not patient with that.
Yeah.
After I will try, and at some point, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. And I will come to the conclusion this is not worth it.
Yes.
And so at that point, if I'm missing the carefree, the happy Pam, I go back to my core and I do what I have to do to free me from whatever is the instant irritation. But I'm going to, my platform, I'm going to exercise a position of power, and it's got to go.
I know. And it's funny that you would say that. And when you operate in that capacity, what you just said, people tend to just put all kind of labels on you.
Yes.
But we can't allow them to do that, people. And I think that's why we're so afraid to operate in our truth.
Right.
Like Pam said earlier, we're worried about what the people are going to say. Like the young ladies we mentioned earlier, they didn't care. It helped, it liberated them. I'm sure at one time they cared about what was being said about others, but in the end, Pam, you're right. I tell you, that's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. And that's what they wanted. You know what I mean? They wanted, they did crowd please for a while. I know I've been there.
I've been there too.
I've done it.
I've been there too.
And then I get to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not going to keep crowd pleasing, because there is always someone who will be displeased no matter what you do.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what you do, there will be someone who's displeased with what you are doing and who you are. And yes, people will label you. So viewing audience, you can't allow that to prevent you from being who you are. People will label you, but you can't. I will say this to you. I will give you this advice. You can't control what people think of you. You can't control what they will say about you or how they will label you. What you can control is how you respond to it.
Yes.
That's what you can control.
Ooh,
so you don't even need to keep fighting with them to change their mind.
Yes.
You don't need to keep doing, because defaulting back to your truth, when you know your truth, when you're willing to stand in your truth, arguing isn't necessary. Because remember, once again, from that power living platform, you cannot lose an argument you never participated in.
Boom.
Boom.
I love it.
You can't lose that. So we can't worry about labels. We can't get into that. That's their issue to deal with, because it took some feelings. It took some investment in time and thought to come up with the label for you. So they wasted some precious time. And this one, you have to make it wasted time.
Yeah.
They wasted time, invested time in you. But it's up to you, and you have the power to make that time that was invested in criticizing and destroying you. You have the power to make it wasted time.
Yes.
And you make it wasted time because you are not going to buy into it. You're not going to argue with them. You're not going to change their mind when you are standing in your truth.
Woo. Now, Pam, that is so powerful there. That's what you call powerful living.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
What you just said. It's bar none. I'm serious.
Yeah.
People, if we can just grasp that as a people, I think there's no telling what we can do. I mean,
Right.
the mental situations that are and mental health is, and a lot of us, dealing with things now. I think it will just
Right.
subside.
Yeah.
It'll be
Because a lot of our emotional issues are attached to other people,
yes.
to other people. And if you don't know your truth,
Mm-hmm.
you will be influenced by, and you may accept their opinions.
Yeah.
In our
Mm-hmm.
introductory,
Mm-hmm.
there's in our introductory video, there's one of my quotes like, "Their opinion is not necessarily your truth,"
That's right.
and we have to remember that we don't become encumbered by their opinions.
Exactly.
They are entitled to their opinions, not to yours.
Yes. Exactly.
To yours.
Exactly. Exactly.
Remember, they are entitled, and that those are their opinions. It doesn't have to be fact. It may be,
Exactly.
it may be. And if their opinion is based on fact, then it's still up to you to decide if you're going to accept it and
Mm-hmm.
take corrective action or do something about it, or if I'm just going to leave it alone. It's still
Yes.
up to you. The
It's
power is still with you. Now, there
yes.
are consequences for our actions. If somebody gave us some advice or had an opinion based
Yes.
on fact, and we decide to ignore it, which we can do, but understand there are consequences for everything that we do. The consequences could be good and they can be bad, but there are consequences.
Yeah.
But still, it's your power.
Mm,
It's what you do with that power.
yeah. That's right.
It's
That's
it's
right.
it's what you do with that power.
Yeah.
So standing in your truth and not pleasing the crowd that's a power tool.
Mhm.
That's a power
It really
tool
is. It really
because
is.
Simone, she may have been, really at the top of her particular game longer than Naomi,
Mhm.
but and I think she's older than Naomi, but
Mhm.
so that shows you how no matter where we are in life by age or experience, we always can learn from someone else.
Mhm.
And here she was, going dealing with a whole lot, but
Mhm.
this younger woman, who was courageous enough to stand up to her truth,
Mhm.
regardless of what the consequences were. And
Mhm.
just look, and I'm so happy that both of them, they got tremendous support from others in sports, as
Yeah.
well as
Yeah.
their sponsors,
Exactly.
you know, those people who they are representing, Nike, all of those types. They supported them,
Yes. They did.
because
They
thank
did.
God we are living in an age of
Mhm.
awakening now,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us have to take even advantage of that. There are awakenings going all over the world.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
since there is an awakening and people are open to embracing truth,
Mhm.
more so, and
Mhm.
what who we are really, and whether or not the truth is pretty, that people are open to it because they know there's healing in there, there's restoration, there's moving forward. Okay, take advantage of that. If you came along during a period when everything is hidden, that's not
Mhm.
the case anymore.
That's right.
It's time to stand in your truth, to use your voice, speak your truth,
Mhm.
because doing that is not going to diminish you.
Mhm.
It's going, I promise you, there is someone else out there, like
Mhm.
Simone was in response to Naomi. There is someone out
Mhm.
there who's experiencing the same thing that you, and all they need is another voice
Yes.
to come forward to
Exactly.
inspire them to.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you probably are someone else's deliverance.
Yes.
You're someone else's voice. You may be speaking up on behalf of others,
Mhm.
just bringing your truth that
Mhm.
you may have been ashamed of, you have may felt it was ugly or
Mhm.
diminished you in some way. It did not. First of all, you are to be hailed, applauded for
Yeah,
coming forward with the truth.
exactly.
You
Yeah,
are to be applauded for that,
yeah,
because that is not only for you. I like to say that a lot of times when we are walking in our purpose, we are merely the vessel of honor that is actually carrying
yes,
what is needed for somebody else.
that's
So
right.
there are other people who, are the beneficiaries, and it's not just for us. It could
Exactly.
be that we just are the vessel that will deliver what others are standing in need of.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So even our truth is not just for us;
It
it's for
sure is.
somebody else too,
For somebody else too.
as
Yes.
well.
We go through. So that's and see, everybody benefits from the truth.
That,
Everybody.
that
Everybody.
everybody benefits from the truth. Let's be realistic. There will be those who don't like your truth.
Yeah.
There will be those who will attack your truth.
Yeah.
But stand in your truth, because a truth forever stands. And what they are pushing, it never stands.
Yeah.
It never stands. You will prevail. Let them deal with whatever issue that is. That, and I always say toxic waste, because I will not give toxicity energy. I will never say that toxicity is energy. It's toxic waste. It's
Yeah.
not made for human consumption. So don't you try to ingest it.
Yeah.
Don't receive it. Don't
Oh,
receive it. Continue to stand in your truth. You will be rewarded accordingly.
yes. All righty. Yes. And
Yes.
I think that was well said, Pam. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. I
Yeah.
know, guess what you think. Please comment and let us know how you think this show was. Because it was awesome, Pam. You gave some good pointers and you broke it. You really broke that down. You really
Yeah.
did. Yeah, you
Well, I
really did.
always appreciate being with you,
Oh
um,
yes, you too.
bouncing for, the thoughts and the opinions and
Yes.
back and forth. I am so glad that we were able to do that. And I would say to the audience, if you've ever had to deal with something or situation or person who attacked your truth,
Yeah.
feel free to put that in the comment section and
Yes.
let us know how you overcame. Let us
Exactly.
know how you overcame.
Yes.
We just may do a shout out in a future episode.
Yeah.
Like, remember that time when we were talking about when others don't appreciate, don't
Mhm.
want your truth, or attack your truth. You
Mhm.
know what? This person weighed in and listen at this, and we'll read, your comment, and they were able to overcome. They were able to withstand the attack on their truth.
Yes. I think maybe one Sunday evening we should in the future do a live one with you. I know you got a lot of things going on right now. We just do it maybe a live, maybe
Yeah,
30 minutes or so, and just let people comment since they're hearing what our conversations are about, the truth
right.
unfiltered is about. So maybe we can talk about some things because I know some people have something to say. I just feel it. I know they do. They have something to say, and they can relate to what you mentioned tonight. I know we can. I know I can.
Me,
Yes.
me too. I've been there. I've done that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's why I can speak on it. I
Yes.
never come. Let me say this: I never come from the mountaintop. You know, and most times I'm coming from the valley of experience. Most of the time I'm coming through, from the valley. It has not always been pretty. It's not glamorous, but Sandy and I are here as living witnesses
Yes. And
to the benefits of the truth,
yeah.
coming through hell and high water, So all of us, we're in
Mm.
this together as we are truth seekers
Yes.
and, committed to the truth.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes. So, well, all right. Well, this will conclude this episode this week. And thanks everybody for hanging in here this long. And we appreciate you. And we're going to see you on the next episode. And Pam, give us some closing remarks.
I will just say the truth, it forever stands, and a lie never stands. And so stand in your truth. Do not let anyone or nothing separate you from the truth. If you want freedom, truth is the gateway to freedom.
Yes. Okay. See you on the next episode. Bye bye.